Well, hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon. It's me, Scoutmaster Demi. It's been a while, right? It's been 5 weeks since I last streamed. I was literally walking up and down California, a very, very crazy circumstance for anyone to be in. I thought, let's start with a relaxing stream, get things back in the swing of motions. And of course, nothing is more relaxing than literally ranking every single room in the entire game. I'm doing this by myself. In the past, we've had some wonderful guests like Shagraz and Gelly, but I figure this stream is just going to take way too long if I'm going back and forth on absolutely every single room. But the flip side is we've got chat today, right? Which can be really fun and helpful. So I figure I can at least get some little ideas from you guys if a take is just too bad or too awful. So before we start, there is something I have to say. We are considering the full power of these rooms. Okay, first of all, great to see Otaku and Jesse and everyone else. I know I'm streaming way earlier today than normal, and I'm also this is like a holiday week, right? So I know a lot of people are doing other stuff. So great to see you guys. We are considering the strongest version of each room. Okay, we're considering the strongest version, and by that I mean we're not going to look at unupgraded rooms. We're going to assume that rooms at gem costs are axed. And the reason why is I think this is just the only way that you can kind of properly gauge the power, at least as best as you can. If you guys have been watching the shorts on YouTube, you know that sometimes my take has like a very different opinion based off the community. And that's due to a number of reasons, but that's usually due to the fact that like when I'm making a short, I have to consider like the early game player's perspective, the middle game, the late game, and that it makes it really hard to gauge and rank things, right? So in this case, we're going full power, okay? We're considering it to be the late game. You know, we're considering rooms to be just about as unlocked as you can. I don't know if Treasure Trove is going to have like 160 coins, but it'll have a lot, right? Like that's what we're working with here. So that's my thought. And I think that should be really great. And yeah, great to see you guys. Okay, so we're going to start off real easy, okay? Starfish Aquarium, that is an S tier room. And you can see that I've got this setup here, right? We're considering the cost, the rewards, the paths, and the access. We're considering the, oh, it should have been Carp, darn it. And now it's Kerpa. I guess it's like if you like Metal Gear Solid, the Kerpa's the the carpet sheep. We're gonna be helping them out today. So, and here's the reason why, okay? First of all, Aquarium, as we all know, has infinite ways to synergize, right? It works with just about every lab experiment. In fact, it can be spammed itself, which is why I think Starfish Aquarium is the best of the aquariums. This is the one that is the most interesting stuff because unlike, you know, the gold coins for the goldfish where like it's not permanent and you're maybe not that excited to just spam a bunch of coins, stars are permanent and they are arguably the single best resource in the entire game. So Starfish Aquarium is the reason why you even want to have that lab experiment that's adding extra aquariums in your deck. Again, it's got synergies with a million things. It synergizes with itself. And again, adding stars so effortlessly, as well as giving you items, dig spots. It's a fantastic room. Electric Eel Aquarium, I think is pretty interesting too. Okay, I think this is pretty interesting as well. It's not even close to the power of Starfish, in my opinion, which was really interesting. If you guys have been following the YouTube posts, I've been polling, you know, the general audience and their opinions. And Electric Eel was like, I think, if I recall correctly, I think Electric Eel was like far and away the most popular aquarium, which really makes me scratch my head. I do understand that, like, for a lot of earlier game Blueprints players, they just want to power up that laboratory ASAP. And they're annoyed with Boiler Room. They're annoyed with, they might not even know that you can chain power, whatever, right? So I know that that is like something to think about. And for what it's worth, adding the gear mechanical room subtype is relevant. Using a wrench can make it really easy to set your aquarium to common. It makes your mechanarium just a little bit better. But yeah, other than that, I don't know. I would honestly, I'd probably put it in C if I'm being really, really honest with you. Maybe B tier. Let's see how the rest of this progresses, because we know that even baseline aquarium is pretty good. But I think that, like, at the end of the day, this is just getting outclassed by Starfish in almost every playthrough. This is my opinion. So great to see you guys. And hello again. I'm sorry, I'm trying to keep things moving, but I love everyone in the chat. It's great to see you. Chuffy, Jesse, Susie, Otaku, Savage, Yuki, Claygirth. I mean, it's fantastic. I know we're streaming a lot earlier and on a weird holiday schedule, so great to see you guys. Okay, archives. I think Archives is a B tier room. Okay, I almost want to put it at A. I think that people hate on Archives a little too much, and it is true that it's probably the worst red room. Well, no, that's not the worst red room downside. It's one of the worst, right? Like, it's easy to compare it to Weight Room, and Weight Room is way more manageable. Plus, it gives you a lever, right? So it's just not even close to the Weight Room, in my opinion. It is worse, but it is 0 gems. It is always relevant, you know, early game, middle game, maybe a little less so late game, but it can help you get lab experiments. That is a trigger that can work. You know, you're probably going to ruin your day. You're probably not going to like get your day very far, but you can trigger a ton of times off of the archived lab experiment option, which I think is kind of cool. And there are even some items too. You can get some items from the archives as well. Not like super frequently, but it is possible. I think it's B, right? I don't think it's worse than that. I could see a world where it's A tier, but I think that Archives is actually a lot better than people might expect. It's kind of like the evil twin for Passageway. Like, Passageway also has 4 paths. It also has power ducts. Passageway, you're never getting items, but in exchange, it also costs 2 gems, which, you know, is kind of an interesting comparison. And I think I like Archives more than Passageway, so take that for what it's worth. The Armory is really interesting, and if it's not obvious to you guys by now, yeah, you're gonna get spoiled if you haven't fully beaten the game. This is literally every room, so my apologies to anyone who thinks they can get away with that. The Armory is really, really cool. This room is only accessible with that Knight chest power, which means that when you're done with this room, you can just take it out of your pool completely. Like, it won't even be there to be an annoying thing. It doesn't cost a gem, which is pretty rare for a shop. It's a black print, which is kind of, there's not a lot of like black print synergies, but that is kind of interesting and cool. It has possibly the best item in the entire game, the axe. 3 uses to permanently reduce your gem cost. That's pretty massive. I think that's, and then even like your torch, right? Like even, what's the word? Even like your torch, your morning star, the night shield, a lot of good items here. I think I'm putting it an S for the 2 reasons of Axe, which is arguably the best reward in the game because it's permanent and has long-lasting repercussions, and because you can get rid of it at any time. And it is also really nice to not have to like make the burning glass, right? You don't have to actually make the burning glass when you have this around. And just to clarify earlier, I know I see a comment asking about why comparing Archives to Passageway. I just mean in general, right? We haven't talked about Passageway yet. I just mean like generally speaking. And I know that's gonna be tough. This is obviously a very difficult tier list to do. So anyway, I think Armory goes in S. I could see A. Let's see how the rest of this goes. I'm certainly down to sort of tweak things and twist things, but I think the fact of the matter is Axe is phenomenal. You can get rid of it, whatever. I've said what I have to say. Attic is really cool. Normally costs you 3 gems. Again, we're gonna assume that it's axed. And actually Attic, I think, is one of the better axe uses in the game, to be frank with you. 8 items is insane, right? And true, most of these are gonna be like keys and gems. Sometimes you get a single coin. That kind of stinks as one of your item slots. But very, very powerful, extremely powerful stuff. I think that Attic is an A tier room. I think that it's not quite at the level of some of the other rooms in the game that we're going to talk about, but 8 items is jaw-dropping. Even if you get some dud items, this is going to help you easily assemble contraptions. It might help you get special keys that you need for the rest of your day. It's a dead end, you know, that's not great. But again, having 8 items, even in a world where you're paying for 3 gems, it's really great. And in this world, I think it's even better too. So great stuff. Okay, Ballroom. I owe everybody an apology. In fact, I'm actually, I think of all the shorts that I would ever redo in Blueprints that I make on YouTube, Ballroom is probably like the only one that I feel strongly enough that I need to redo. Okay, Ballroom sucks. It's a C tier room, possibly D. I think I can be nice enough to give it C, but the thing is, Ballroom needs so many things to work. Ballroom needs so many things to work, okay? You need to have like enough gems in your inventory at that moment for it to be interesting. So like 4 gems or lower, right? If you have more than 4 gems, you're instantly losing gems, which is hysterical. True, you can get a lot of, like, converting steps to gems is like really good in theory. But it also does lock you out of some of the 3 gem cost rooms, which can really stink. Like you're never gonna see your attic. It has like anti-synergy with parlor room and stuff like that you might get later on in the day. Yeah, it is so hard to make work. Like if ballroom, if it cost you like 1 less gem, if it were a 1 gem cost room instead of 2, I could see it being a little bit better. Probably, maybe it's too good. I don't know. It's a weird room. And just as a future apology, I really had the power level of this room wrong. Because as a fun fact for you guys, I was a playtester, and this effect of ballroom, I'm sorry, the effect of hovel, converting your steps, converting gem cost rooms into steps, that used to be what ballroom was, which was obviously very good. I'm a hovel fan. I know some people don't like hovel. So anyway, I had the power level of that down wrong. I didn't have as much experience with it. I could even see ballroom being D. Honestly, it's just, it's kind of like magical Christmas land actually making it do anything. So yeah. And again, the only reason for me, electric eel aquarium at sea is just because I think that starfish just outclasses it. I mean, it's true that even like baseline aquarium is a pretty good room. Again, let's play around, right? We have literally like 110, more than 110 because we've got upgrades. We have a lot of rooms to think about, so we can definitely play around, and definitely share your ideas in your comments about that too, because I'm really amenable to that. Bedroom, C tier. Okay. It falls off in power. I don't think the bedroom is ever really that great. The best use for bedroom, like the times that I'm most excited about it, is when you've got nursery and you're doing like day 1 runs and like you need a bedroom that continues. That's probably the most exciting thing about bedroom. Bedroom is very good in day 1, but let's be real, this room very much falls off in power. Okay, now we've got billiard rooms, which is really interesting. Break room, insanely good. This is an S tier room for sure. Break room is going to give you easy access to the card key. And it's true that you can always use security room plus utility closet to replicate a card key, but this is so much easier. It saves you way more time. You can basically always start your day off with the card key, which is insanely good. And then like, yeah, 2 keys as well. Sure, maybe late game, the billiard room puzzles are not worth solving, but even in a world where break room got rid of the 2 keys and just gave you basically infinite uses of the card key throughout the rest of your playthrough, I still think that would be an S tier room. So the fact that you can get 2 keys is just really icing on the cake. I actually think Speakeasy is a lot better than people give it credit for. Ain't nobody got time for ridiculous math. It's also good for speedrun uses and challenge purposes. We're gonna go to B tier. I think I can't really see it going up to A. And I don't think it's as bad as C. I do think Speakeasy is better than you think it is. And Pool Hall, I'm gonna put down here. When I say bad and weak, I'm definitely putting like the really bad upgrades in my opinion, or the ones that are always outclassed down here. I don't know. I don't think that adding the orange subtype, adding hallway is a really exciting archetype. I don't think that's really adding much to it. Maybe you care about drafting rooms or making your classroom a little bit better, but that's not really that exciting either. I don't know. I don't think Pool Hall is great, especially when you consider what you're giving up here. Break room is just like one of the best rooms in the entire game. Okay, so boiler room. This room is really hard to gauge, right? It does normally cost a gem. I don't think you would ever use an axe on a boiler room, so maybe we can consider it with a gem cost anyway, but no, we won't. We're gonna keep it even. This room is kind of a hassle in order to like fully use your T-shapes most days. Although I guess it actually saves the puzzle, so that's not actually true. It's only a hassle in day 1 and challenge runs, which I'm always doing. Yeah, I don't know, gang. Obviously, powering up is really good early game, probably even like mid game. I don't think late game it matters that much. Yes, you can power up your laundry room, which is really cool. That's probably like the best late game use of powering. But I don't know. I don't think that's, I don't know. It like in the worst case scenario, I think it's B tier. I think in the worst case scenario, it's just like a T-shaped room, which is nice. It's got like a dig spot. Power can be cool. I just think that power is one of those things that you really care about at first, and then you just like never stop caring about ever again. So that's my take there. I could see a world where boiler room is A, maybe. I mean, I don't know. It's hard because like if you think about all the things that it unlocks over the course of the game, like your garage, which gives you your outer rooms, you know, getting your Blackbridge Grotto, like it's pretty important. And I don't know. Maybe if you also really care about connecting your ducks, if you're like you really want a red room day, I don't know. I think Boiler Room is a B2 room. Bookshop, let's be nice and put it in C. Obviously, it has books that are very important. It can only be drafted from library, which is actually a kind of an upside in my opinion, because it means it's not normally crowding up your pool. You're not going to be seeing it all that often. The thing is, Bookshop, just like once you buy it out, it's nothing, right? It's absolutely nothing. It'd be really cool if you could buy a magnifying glass or like a hall pass in here. I actually think that would be a really fun tweak. Hall pass and magnifying glass, because hall pass I think is also just it's a little too rare for it to be like a fun and cool item, and there's not enough ways to like preserve items like all throughout the game. But yeah, I think Bookshop just like easily falls off in value. You buy it all, then you're done with it forever. And I think what saves it from D tier is the fact that it's like not clogging up your pool every day. Okay, now we've got the boudoirs, and the boudoirs are really, really interesting. I think that is an easy S tier room, the +2 dice boudoir, because you're also considering that you get a gem. 2 dice, as we know, any way to mitigate RNG is going to be phenomenal. It's a bedroom that continues. That's pretty rare. So your nursery gets a little bit better. Obviously, Sleeping Mask is nice. And you can actually find items like Sleeping Mask in here pretty rarely. Boudoir is just insanely good. I am also an Apple fan. I think it's a lot better than people think it is. I might even put it in A tier. And the reason why is it's for a few reasons, right? One, obviously you can buff your apples with Observatory. So you can, like, even with one buff, you know, you can get like 15 steps out of this, which is pretty nice. If you buff it twice for 8 + 8 steps, that's pretty good. It's got synergy. I mean, Salt Shaker is not really anything to talk about, but there are some nice things there. It does trigger lab experiments really, really easily, which is not nothing. And honestly, you can reach a point in like mid game to late game where you farmed so many stars that like rerolls don't really matter as much to you anymore. And so it's just nice to have like easy steps, right? It's nice to not like have to worry about drafting a nursery every day or like really throwing out your guest bedroom and things like that. I think it's better than people think it is. Maybe it's B tier because +2 dice is almost always going to be better. But I think this is a lot better than people do think it is. And then +1 gem, I mean, it's fine. I just think it's boring. I don't know. I think both of these are a lot better than 1 gem, in my opinion. I think they're both a lot better. So I think that only one bunk room really matters. And I don't think it even matters that much. I think it's a C tier room. The only upgrade, in my opinion, is having exactly 2 shops and doubling your coins. And the reason why that is a thing is because shops are rare enough that you're not going to have like a ton of them. Coins are plentiful enough that doubling them is relevant, right? Like the green room, having 2 green rooms, doubling your gems, it's like a nightmare to actually assemble that. And then what are you doing? You're like doubling 1 gem to 2 or like 2 gems. I mean, 2 gems to 4 is actually pretty nice, but still, right? Like that's not really a thing. Hallways are, but you could maybe do hallways, but again, like how often are you farming keys like that easily? I don't know. I don't think any of the bunk rooms are that great. I think even at its full power, it's a C tier room. Consider that bunk room has a hamster. That's kind of fun. That is cute and relevant. Bunk room having 2 items is cool. The double key is cool. Double gem is cool. Sometimes you can get double lock chest. And I've never seen this myself, but apparently you can get double vault key, which is like actually crazy. But yeah, I just don't think the bunk room is that exciting at the end of the day. So yeah, we'll throw it there. Casino, really cool room. This room just giving you +20 coins and costing 2 gems normally is just, I just think that's better than vault, like full stop. Plus it's got a pathway, plus it's a shop. It's got some gold room synergies. Casino is funny because like the slot machine game is actually not as much luck as you think it is. It's a lot more skill. And so if you have a broken lever, and actually I think even without a broken lever, if you just have all the time in the world, you can have all the coins that you want in that day, which is very, very funny, just converting real world time into nearly infinite gold. The roulette is really fun. You can get allowance out of it, which is a permanent upgrade. It continues, which is cool. It continues, which I think is really relevant. Oh, and I think that's true. Actually, I do want to chime in. I do think the double vault keys from the Cloister upgrade. That's a really good point. You're not going to see it normally. That's a really good point. So I don't know. It's also like Casino is fun because like there ends up being a lot of ways later in the game to have like a ridiculous amount of money. But Casino is a fast way to have a lot of money. It's definitely the fastest way, in my opinion, to get a ton of money. I think, I don't know. I think it falls off for sure. It falls off for sure, which is why I think it's B tier. I could see A. I could see A for Casino. You don't often get a permanent reward. Coins for sure do fall off, but it's nice to be a shop that continues. I don't know. I could see a world where it's a little bit better, but I'm gonna keep it at B for now. I'm gonna keep it for B. And I agree with Wally Walk. It's not in the same tier as Attic and Boudoir. I agree. Okay. Chamber of Mirrors is so funny. And I have a hard time ranking this, and I would love to get the opinions of chat on this because like most days, I don't really like to see Chamber of Mirrors. I'm like, it's basically just a dead end that makes your drafting pool for the day really awful. However, the reward of adding extra copies of rooms is insanely good. A second observatory is like jaw-droppingly good. Second den, third den, right? Like there are such good things that you can get from the Chamber of Mirrors. And you can always, you don't have to pick the weird rooms to add doubles of. Like you don't need to add a double wine cellar, right? Like, I mean, you could if you really wanted, but you don't need to, right? Like you don't need a double gym. It's just, it's weird because it's like, it's kind of janky. It's kind of janky. But if you consider the ultimate reward of like adding certain rooms permanently in your deck, it's very strong. It's very, very strong. I think it's like top of B tier. It feels weird to give it A. I mean, you could, I don't know. And actually, I see some good comments from the chat as well. You have to be careful what you add because there's no way to remove them when you're done. Chamber of Mirrors was a fun puzzle to solve once. That's hysterical. Yes, I agree. They make you work. They make you work for the permanent rooms. But I want to be very clear that like adding a second observatory, adding a second den, like there are very, very, very good stuff. But yeah, I think it doesn't seem like too many people are disagreeing with me here. I think top of B tier is probably like where it belongs. Chapel, it's basically hallway, right? Like, I think even in the early days of playing Blueprints, you can really play around the coin downside. You just, like, it's often you don't have any coins when you draft your chapel. Sometimes it has coins in it. Then you have, like, the piggy bank. Honestly, I don't think you ever really need to shadow the piggy bank, but, like, it's fun that it's there. It's a cute little thing. Maybe if you, like, didn't know about your trophy of wealth, and you're like, what the heck? Like, you know, I want to get this trophy and be done with. I guess you could shadow your piggy bank, which is cool. I don't know. I think like all of the free T-shaped rooms are going to be B tier rooms. At the end of the day, I think that's how it is. You could maybe A tier for the piggy bank, but like, I don't know. I will say that being a red room can be helpful. You've got like your paper crown synergies. You've got there's like funeral parlor if you're into that sort of thing. I certainly am. It's pretty cool. And the fact that even early game it costs you no gems is really nice. But yeah, let's call it. I think it's actually a pretty solid room, and I think B is good for it. Classroom. Even the single classroom is not bad. Costing a gem kind of stinks normally. Again, in this world, we're assuming it's axed, which actually classroom's not a bad axe because if you have your schoolhouse, every single classroom becomes free once you axe one of your classrooms, and you just get like reroll city, right? Like you can build almost any day that you want. I do think that hoarding stars is generally a better strategy at the end of the day, and I think there are stronger outer rooms than schoolhouse even than that, but you could definitely axe your classroom. I think it's fun. It's very spammable. It's cool that like it cares about drafting rooms. That's like a pretty rare thing. I think it's better than C tier because it's just a weaker drawing room, and we all know the drawing room is pretty great, right? So I don't know. Well, I think that you consider classroom, the single classroom as well as the spammed classroom together. Yeah. Oh, but I see what you mean. Because, yeah, a spammable classroom is going to be like A tier as opposed to like B tier. But yeah, I think that's fine, though. Again, if people have like really strong opinions, do shout it out. But I think classroom giving you like, it's at the very least, it's going to give you 1 reroll. It's very likely it's going to give you 2 or 3. That's pretty cool. It's got an apple in there just about always. In fact, I think it is always. Sometimes another extra item too. And I think that like this being a great way to get rerolls in the game, like an easy one to do it, is kind of cool. So anyway, Clock Tower, really interesting room. It's important, right? You need it for your Sanctum key, so you can't really, you need it in just about every playthrough. Being a tomorrow room is interesting. It's hard to rate tomorrow rooms, right? Because you are giving up like your immediate potential for future potential. I'm a fan of tomorrow rooms. I could see, I know that there are tomorrow room haters out there, but I think that they're actually all pretty decent. And it's fun to feel like what you're doing today matters in the next day. Getting a bunch of keys is cool. Being a dead end, not so cool. I don't know. The fact that you can get your stopwatch is extremely fun. And I think like the thrill of stopwatch at the top of the clock tower is one of the funniest moments in all of Blueprints. Like that's like a top tier moment. I don't know. Is it C or B? Is clock tower C or B? I think keys are relevant. Tomorrow rooms are interesting. I don't know. That's really tough. If you were guaranteed stopwatch, I think it would be really high. Let's put it in C for now, and let's see how we feel. Let's throw it in C for now. Okay, we've got a million cloisters, which is always fun. I think we can all agree Cloister of Draxus is an S tier room. I know that we're assuming our cloisters are axed, but this saves you an axe in this world, so that's really cool. Cloister of Draxus not only gives you 1,000,000 dice, but you can actually break out of it with your secret passage, which is phenomenal. And again, it's just a really cool, fun room, I think, in general. I'm very jealous of people who have Cloister of Draxus in their playthrough. Okay. Cloister of Lydia gives you dice for shops. I think that most of these cloisters are pretty similar in power level. Like, Cloister of Orinda I'm throwing down here just because, like, I think every other cloister is better than it. I really wish the Cloister of Orinda lost the gem cost. Because, like, I get that Cloister of Draxus seems like a dead end, and that red rooms just inherently don't have gem costs unless you're aquarium. But, like, this is just worse than Cloister of Draxus, so I think it's pretty bad. I think it's pretty bad. I think that most of these are pretty similar in power level. Cloister's a cool room because you can spike it for free with your secret passage. It's a 4-way room. It's green room synergies. I think they're pretty much all A tier rooms. I don't know that they're that much better than anyone else. Does anyone have any thoughts on that? I think you never pick Orinda. I think all of these are like, I don't know that it's worth bending your back to figure out like which of these is the best one. Getting allowance tokens is cool. Getting stars is really cool. That's probably my favorite of these. You guys know I'm a star fan. You know, luck is cool. Raising luck is really cool. I mean, these are impossible to read anyway. The bedroom one is really interesting. That's how you can get like your bunk bed to give you, your bunk room to give you double vault keys and stuff like that. So I don't know. I think, again, there's a world where you can split hairs. And we have an upgrade tier list that you could watch if you want to like really see the full breakdown. But I think they're all pretty solid. Especially if they don't cost any gems. Closed exhibit is really interesting. Closed exhibit is really, really interesting. It's kind of free, right? It's kind of like vestibule. Like I did a short recently where I said vestibule is basically 4 unlocked doors. It costs you like 2 steps to reroll the one that you really want to get. It's basically 4 unlocked doors. Closed exhibit is basically like 1 less door. And the fact that if you have break room, which you should hopefully have break room, it's just totally free. It's a rare red room that doesn't really have a downside. So you can buff up your funeral parlor. It gives you the paper crown, which is a phenomenal item. Really, really underrated item, to be honest with you. I think close exhibit's A. I think it's A. Maybe not like the highest of A, but paper crown plus like, it could be B still. It could be B still. And it's true that you can get lab experiment triggers, which is cool. That's a really good point. Security doors is like one of the better lab experiment options anyway. Yeah, I think a low A for closed exhibit is pretty cool. So, yes. Oh yeah, and lockpick kits. That's true. Lockpick kits. Actually, I completely forgot about that. Really good point. All right. Closet's funny because closet is normally like a whatever item. Let's be real. Bedroom closet, you just shouldn't pick it. There's not enough bedrooms that continue to ever be worth it. If it were rare items, we've talked about this before. It's a shame that they don't have like like if it were the pool of items from the bedroom, I think it's Mila, right? The bedroom item. If it were that same pool, that'd be really interesting, but it's not. So pretty bad. I think hallway closet. Well, let's throw them both in B tier. I actually look. I think empty closet. It's possibly C. I know that as its fans, and I'm a fan. I do love red rooms. I do love red rooms. I don't know. I just think that hallway closet is way safer, and most players should probably pick that, right? Like you should probably pick hallway closet because like the opportunity cost of like 0 items as your baseline is pretty bad. But you know, red rooms do have a lot of paths, so it's not like it's not that tough to do it. I could see C, but I know there's a lot of empty closet lovers out there, and red rooms are a really fun strategy to get in there. So for what it's worth, I think it's a really cool room. So we'll put them together. We'll put them together. And let's say Matthias has got a case for empty closet. That's cool. Okay. Coat check. Honestly, it's probably S tier. It's like, you know, it's probably maybe there's a case for coat check in A tier, but it's like whatever busted item you have, you're getting it every day, right? Like coat check could mean infinite keys. Coat check could mean infinite gems. It could mean a ton of rerolls. You know, it could mean, right? Like it's very good. It's very, very good. I could see an argument for A tier, but like it's so rare to actually preserve your items in this game that like I think you just have to give coat check that buff there. It's just too good. Commissary is a fascinating room because once you have a massive allowance, it's like it's kind of bonkers. But I would feel weird putting it in S tier. You know, I think it's A. I think it's like top of A. I think it's like top of A. I don't know. Commissary is really interesting. Because like you get to a point where it's like commissary is like plus 8 gems, plus a shovel, you know, sometimes like the worst commissary room is like what, salt shaker days, and like that's not even that bad. I think it's just too good late game to pass up. Commissary is normally B tier, and I would agree with that. Special request is true. You can guarantee the things you want. I mean, plus 8 gems, that's basically like freaking you know, trophy room, and you don't have to axe it either. So yeah, it's quite good. I think it's quite good. So for what it's worth, yeah, maybe behind attic. I don't know, but it's a great room. It's a great room that keeps getting better. Conference room. I think late game it falls off in power. I want to give it S tier because it's like because of its relevance early mid game. What do you guys think? I'm curious what you guys think. It's rare to have like a totally free T-shaped room with an upside. The upside's not always relevant. The upside is not always relevant, but like when it is relevant, it's game changing. And for what it's worth, as a day one player and a challenge run player, I have a lot of respect for conference room. So how about like bottom of S tier? How about bottom of S tier? I do think it falls off. But it's just like, there's just so many game modes where it's really helpful. Yeah, I think bottom of S is fine. I think it's fine. That's where I'm at. Okay, conservatory, arguably best room in the entire game. What more can you say? What more can you say? You can, I mean, this is meta defining, right? That this is playthrough defining, right? Like this is how you get all your busted stuff to be common. It only costs you 1 gem. Normally you would never axe this. It's also a drafting room for like random classroom synergies. It is, sometimes you find an item in here. I think there's even dig spots sometimes. It's a green room, right? You can spread gems with your patio in here.